Lord, that I've got more than that. In this life there's nothing certain, except the curtain that rises to the stage. Silly games of second guessing, I won't forget the lessons that I don't deserve. Because one street over there's a life I couldn't know would have kept me from the one I love today. One street over there's a life I could have known. Things aren't always.
This is the day the Lord hath made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. Listening to great gospel music on WSGI AM 1100, Springfield's God Informer.
Hi, this is Mike LaFever with the LaFever Quartet. Let me encourage you to download the WSGI app for iPhone and Android so you can listen to good old gospel music 24 hours a day on 1100 WSGI, Springfield, Tennessee.
Hey, this is LaVern Vivio. This is U-Turn LaVern. And this is one street over, as they said, 1100 WSGI. Welcome to it. Still trying to figure out all the new software stuff. We're still, if you are one of my followers and you're getting this stream, just getting the room noise, as we call it, what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a link to the WSGI page so you can hear the actual studio feed link. So you'll have nice, clear audio coming in, and we're going to figure it out. I was telling my friend, Bob Ayers here again, and I appreciate you so much coming in. You were just here with Lee Marie yesterday. So you're doing double duty, and I appreciate it so much because tis the season, right?
Well, it's a great opportunity, I think. Spring is here and the rainfall has happened well, and a lot going on. That's
just it. I'm going to get you to come this way a little bit so we get you in the camera shot on mine here just a little bit better. But we are just excited to, I love talking gardening and stuff, and I'm so sorry about all this behind radio stuff. Since we got to where we stream everything, we've got to get all this stuff working. And again, we have a YouTube page. We have 2 Facebook pages. I stream it on my page to let all my followers know it's on because of the way they do Facebook now. Everything has to originate from your page or your followers don't get notified of it. So what we're doing is I'm going to send you the WSGI link if you're on Facebook, and that way you can link up with that and you'll get the full sound, the full studio sound. So we'll go ahead and send that out to you, but we'll get all this figured out. Sometimes it just takes a while to get it all set, but at least we've got some streams going, and that's what we all need. It's just a few streams flowing through our life, right? See what I did there? We need streams. We need water. All the things, But I'm so excited you're here. I have been looking at the temps and stuff that we have got. Sometimes at this time of the year, this little coolness that we get gets a little too cool and messes with our stuff, all right? But it doesn't look like it's going to do that this time. Or have you seen some potentially damaging cold? Or is it looking okay, just looking like it's a little cooler than normal or than what we've had?
Well, I think really, to me, this really feels like a typical April kind of.
Yeah, it's what it's supposed to be, actually.
You think about the 40s in the morning, and then warming up in the afternoon. It's going to be a little bit cooler today than what we'd hope for, but to reach 70. But if we can get above the 70s, that's just really where we ought to be.
Okay.
And maybe a little bit below, as I've heard some of our weather and TV stations on their weather forecasting talk about, in this period. And I've been looking at, what winter is this? Is this blackberries are in full bloom? So maybe this is about the last really cool spell, for several days here. That's kind of unusual, at least for this spring, to have several days in a row where the temperatures stay this cool for a stretch.
Yeah, and so, it's so funny because I kind of gauge it by my wisteria. Because my wisteria, unfortunately, seems to get bit a lot by frost, and I don't get to enjoy it very long. But now it's blooming right now, and I'm really hoping it's going to be okay because it really takes a little bit, about a good 10 degrees colder than what we're expecting, I think, before it's going to take it out. But it will. It's one of those things. If it dips too low, it's done, And then it's still beautiful and leafy and majestic, But those blooms are just spectacular. I love wisteria, and mine's just coming along. Takes a while to get it established. I've got to get some more going. I know I think I've said that to you last year. I got to plant a few more, and I didn't get it done last year. But how long can you expect wisteria to bloom if it doesn't get hit by frost?
Well, I don't know. It could be just a few days. A lot of it depends on, though, how cool we get and how long it stays there.
Okay.
Looking at the dogwoods, go back to dogwoods and thinking about those around Easter. We had such nice temperatures during that period of time that it seems like the blooms lasted for a longer period than normal. And I think it's the same way with so many of the plants that are blooming.
Okay.
Even now, with some of the early phloxes that are blooming, those petals are just staying fresh.
Yeah.
They're just staying fresh, and because they're enjoying these temperatures, and even with the lack of moisture, I've done some preparing for some of the summer crops. In fact, I've planted some green beans in the garden. They haven't come up yet, but when I was tilling and preparing for that, there was a lot of moisture in the soil. I was really surprised.
Oh, really? Okay.
And so we're going to see how that just continues now.
Okay. Well, good deal. And I'll pull that microphone on over with you. Since we moved you over, we need to move that microphone over just a little bit. But, I have not decided to go back into gardening yet. I really, when I do it, and I'm going to, I want to do raised beds. I want to protect it because I really got tired of farming for the rabbits and the deer. And do you do any kind of fencing around your vegetable gardens, or do you do okay with the game and stuff that's out there?
Well, I do
Wildlife,
now.
okay.
Well,
Do you fence, or what do you do to protect your stuff?
I have one of those fences that are plastic squares, like a netting.
Yeah.
It's not a light netting though. It's a heavier netting, and it stays in place. And I just have steel fence posts that are about 5 feet tall. Now the netting is 7 feet.
Oh, wow.
So I go all the way to the ground, and I just take it to the top of the post and drape it over.
Okay.
And keep it held in place there. And so far, with that around the perimeter of my entire garden, I've not had any deer damage. Now, I've noticed, in speaking about the tilling that I've been doing, that in that space so far, I haven't put my fence around it, and they've come through it. I can see the footprints, so they're coming to check it out.
Yeah.
But when my fence is in place, they've not jumped it yet.
Yeah.
They've not jumped it.
Because I love fresh garden. Because I was talking to my husband. I was looking at some ideas on how to put some tomatoes and some cucumbers, and he's like, "Do you really think we have time for that this year?" Because we're still renovating our house and stuff. And I was like, "Okay, I'll wait," because he knows I will get so frustrated if I put the time in and get everything going, and then it'll be just about ready, and I'll go out, because I love to pick the little tiny cucumbers and stuff, and they'll just eat every one of them right before I go to get them. They do it every time. And there was a couple of years when we first moved out here, I did a crop of watermelons that were just fabulous. Haven't been able to grow a decent watermelon since. It's so weird. And you really have to be a master at this. That's why you need to be a master gardener, So you need to come take the classes. Why don't we'll run out of time just sitting here just talking. So the plant sale that you guys have is Mother's Day weekend.
It's Mother's Day.
It's Mother's Day weekend. And tell me what that's about and how that works. I know, but we need to tell the listeners. And then also, too, about how I can become a master gardener if I wanted to take the classes and stuff. Can you kind of unpack that for us?
Okay. So the annual plant sale, it's been going on for several years. It's a fundraiser for the Robertson County Master Gardeners Association. And the way they fund their activities, buying plants and supplies for projects that they have ongoing, and it's been happening uptown for years and years and years. Well, last year they decided to move the sale out to the Highland Rim Research Education Center, the experiment station.
Okay.
And a couple of reasons there. One is that we have a demonstration garden that's underway and been that way. This is probably the fourth year that it's being installed, I'll say, because we've gotten into to be different rooms. And so for this, and the association too has been conducting some spring seminars, having an event. And so they decided this year, let's just combine those and have them on the same day.
Right.
So we're going to have the plant sale. It's from 8 till 2. They're going to be the two seminars that are offered. I'm going to do one on vegetable gardening basics, and a presentation there, and then we're going to have Paul Priel, who's going to come and speak about native plants. I'm going to speak at 9:30. Paul is going to be at 11 o'clock. The plant sale is going to be ongoing from 8 to 2. We have a 4-H youth group that's going to provide they're going to make available for purchase a pancake breakfast.
Oh, there you go.
And they're going to continue with a barbecue lunch available for the public that way. That day as well, and as a fundraiser for them, it's the BB gun shooting sports group, and to help fund their travel. So so we're bringing in some of the other areas of UT Extension, with Family and Consumer Sciences and 4-H program, as well as our A&R, Ag and Natural Resources, and Master Gardeners there. Okay. How do you become a Master Gardener? Well, right now there's a statewide training that happens beginning at the end of January. And we just finished up our training April 21st, pretty much for the year. And so you receive about 40 hours of training. If you continue on to become a certified Master Gardener, then you return 40 hours minimum for volunteering, maybe in the different projects, teaching, assisting UT Extension in conducting some programs, and then also earn 8 more continuing education units, and that way you become a certified Master Gardener.
Awesome. But but you say you have to do the continuing thing to keep it going, right?
Yes.
You have to explain that a little bit better.
And volunteering too. So the opportunity to assist in ongoing projects or conduct projects, and that's really one of the big ones now, is the demonstration garden that's happening at the center out there. And then let's say if you're a Master Gardener and you come and you hear me speak, or these 2 seminars at the plant sale, that's going to last for about an hour. So you get one CEU for each hour that you're listening to someone who's providing programming. Martha's Song garden tours. If you go on the garden tour, then you're also every garden that you visit, the time that you spend there, because we always feel if we go to somebody else's garden, we're going to learn something, or we're going to see some plant that kind of piques our interest, and we want to learn more about that one because we want to have it in our garden.
Right.
Then I've learned something, and I wouldn't have done that if I hadn't made this event a priority, and for me to take that stroll, so to speak.
Well, and it's so funny that you mentioned that, because Penny, who coordinates our Martha Song tour, garden tour, has already reached out to me about getting time to come on to promote it, which is going to be on June 27th. I just pulled that up on social media. You can go, any of this stuff we mentioned, just Google it and you'll find it. But Martha Song, it's a garden tour, cool stuff. Seeds of Hope garden tours, but that's going to be benefiting Martha Song, and that's going to be on June 27th. But we'll get Penny in to talk more about that. Do you help her with that, or are you just aware of it? The Martha Song. How are you involved with that?
Well, Penny reaches out to me, and she has reached out to our organization, just wondering if there are some ideas for some gardens that they might visit.
Some that they maybe haven't been to,
right.
And want to. Yeah, I gotcha.
A couple of years ago, the Highland Rim Research Garden, the demonstration garden there, was on the tour. So,
and it is fabulous. It really is when you go and see these gardens. A lot of the times I'm tied up on Sunday, and I'll go because it'll be friends of mine. They'll have gardens, and I'll go see them at different times, just simply because there's a few people that have been on the tour. I didn't know they had these incredible gardens, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you need to come see it." And I've been just so impressed because it inspires you to do the same thing. And it's just so beautiful. Oh my goodness, it's so
Get all kinds of new
Oh,
ideas.
Yeah.
See techniques people are using in their gardens, whether it's vegetables or flowers and shrubs and landscape beds. It's all just wonderful. And there's always, it's taking these or going on these tours is kind of like going to a seminar. I've heard talks on this topic before, but it seems to me that you always leave with a new tidbit.
Yeah.
A piece of information you didn't know, or see something that just kind of grabs you, and you want to have one of those in your garden for the pollinators or whatever the case may be.
And do you? When did you get interested in this? What brought you into this field? I don't know if I've ever had that question with you. How did you end up here?
Well, I was a 4-H agent for 25 years.
Okay.
With UT Extension, and I guess my grandmother just thinking about growing vegetables, and my granddaddies, and just kind of gathered my interest, and I wanted to start having a landscape that was nice. And so how do you make that nice? Well, you learn about what plants do well, and I tell you, as it's evolved over the years, now there's those rain garden opportunities, pollinator garden opportunities. You want to create a monarch way station in your own home landscape. It's just become so very interesting, and you think about maybe producing small fruits. People are so interested, especially in blueberries, and want to have those. So how do you do that? How can you grow those and be successful doing that? Well, you just get in there and learn about those, and attend field days and seminars, and certainly search on the web and all of the information that's out there. But the unique piece for us in UT Extension is that we're going to recommend what the research says is the best practice for growing these crops, and we're going to include flowers and trees and fruit trees and all of it as a crop. Even my turf, I'm interested in my grass and how to keep it healthy and disease free. So I'm looking for the research, and what does the research say, and that's exactly what we pass along to our clientele. These are the recommendations.
Something that I've mentioned many times on the airways, I really want to get some bees. I want bees. And would it be something that, before I do that I need to get the ground around where the bees are? Like, do I want to put in clover? Is that something, or do I just get bees and go for it? I mean, but do I need to be thinking about, you talking about the turf, and you see clover honey, and those kinds of things. And so for some reason that just kind of stands out in my mind. And when you were talking about the interest in your turf, one of my kids is living in a really tight community up in Mount Juliet, and he has, like a yard about the size of this house, maybe. It's not very big. But boy, he is particular about it. It's got to be super green, and you only cut it to this level. And I get so tickled at him because he grew up, us having to, you get done, at our house, you get done mowing and you start over because we mow a lot of acreage. That's my husband. It's like, well, I'm done. It's time to start again, because it's just a lot of acreage to mow. And so to see him so particular about his green is just hysterical to me. But when you mention turf, it just kind of makes me think about, I've got in my head that before I get bees, I need to get a clover patch planted or something. Is there anything to that, or am I just overthinking it?
Well, if you're going to have a hive, and we're going to have Mike and Gina Ernst, who are master gardeners and also beekeepers, they're going to be on hand on plant sale day.
Oh, good.
To share information about their enterprise and how to get started and how they manage their bees. Very, very interesting. Of course, we've got very active beekeepers association.
Oh, yes, we do. Very much, yeah.
And it's some of the master gardener interns have actually gone through their training to learn about keeping bees and considering those hives, but also, to think about those crops that they can utilize, the bees can utilize to manufacture that honey and gather that pollen that they need for their hives and survival and doing well. It just takes a lot of area providing that nectar and that pollen to help the inhabitants of a beehive.
We've got plenty of area. That's not the problem, but it's just trying to figure out. My biggest issue, and I've talked to you a lot about this, is figuring out where to put things. I have had I love hydrangeas. My grandmother had hydrangeas that were just phenomenal. My mother was able, and I'm just not very good at placing stuff. I've gone out, I get a lot of stuff from Corbin and have it lately because I seem to kill everything. I'm so sorry, Amy. I just can't seem to keep it alive. And so I get frustrated, but I've had several things. I can't remember what it was that Lacey Butte got me interested in. It looks like cotton candy. It's like this pink ornamental grass that comes back every year, and it's just phenomenally beautiful. And I've planted 10 of those and haven't got a single one that's alive. So I'm putting them in the wrong place, because I'm taking care of them, but they're just not getting hold. And so I don't know what I'm doing. That's the frustrating thing. That's why I need to come and listen to you guys. But placement is a big part of it, isn't it?
Well, it's huge, and placement not only for light, which is super important for these plants, but also some plants require more drainage, better drainage, or maybe they like it to be in a dry spot. They like to be, and sometimes we spend too much effort in really caring for them, so we may be overdoing it a lot of times.
Okay, kind of like the helicopter parent.
There you go.
Got to giving them too much love.
There you go.
Okay, so hydrangeas, are they sun or shade?
Depends on. So you've got hydrangeas can be really challenging because you have different types of hydrangeas, and some bloom on new wood, current year's growth. Some bloom on buds that were set in the previous year. Okay. And especially, if you think of Nico Blue and some of those that you can adjust the color by changing the soil pH, fall into the big leaf hydrangea group. And it's really hard for us because it seems, especially when we have those, if winter's kind of coming to an end, and then we have nights like we had those 2 nights in a row where the temperature got down to 24 degrees, 22 degrees. Well, that just takes them out.
Really?
And so we just have this wonderful new green growth that's emerging, and the shrubs look great, but winter kills those blooms. And so what you'll end up with is maybe a bloom or two that come on later in this current growing season, just because the plant's able to do that, but we don't have that great flush.
Yeah, that's what my grandmothers were, just spectacular. And I need to go by the old farmhouse and see if they're still there, because honestly, they probably are. I know that my mother had a cutting from there and at their house. And whenever we, cleared out the farmhouse, I got some of that. And I can go back and get more. My brother owns a farm, but I still would really love to transplant those things and get them going in my yard, because it's that heritage. There was plants that were such a heritage thing, and I just love the beauty of that.
Well,
and,
if they're still there, maybe you could go take a couple of cuttings or something and then start your own.
That's what I've been trying to do. I've just not done it very successfully.
Oh, okay.
I've successfully transplanted daffodils. That's pretty easy. I've been able to do that, so I'm pretty prolific when it comes to transferring daffodils. I think we all can do that. We have some trees there, like there's purple leaf plums that just come up everywhere. I've been able to get those. I love. And I know I'm getting off on trees here. I love trees. I love my mimosa trees. And I tried to transplant one from Kentucky. I ended up never being able to get one from Kentucky, and I just found one on the roadside and put it in my yard. Now I got them all over the place, but I love them because they're a wonderful childhood memory for me, just sitting in them and watching Daddy farm and the smell of mimosas. What are your favorites things that you plant? Before we run out of time, we've got Stephanie here from TriStar. She is going to come in and talk to us about some of the things going over at TriStar Northcrest. But Stephanie Dean is on deck here. We're going to bring her in just a second. But before I let you out of here, do you have, I know it's like asking your favorite kid, but do you have some favorite things that you work with, favorite plants, or just like, I just can't wait to get my hands in the dirt and work with those? Do you?
Well, one of the greatest crops that we enjoy is a perennial crop, asparagus. So we've had our asparagus bed for about 15. We've lived in the house that we're in for 20 years, and we've had it most of the time, and it's just wonderful. Talk about going out to your garden space and just cutting it and enjoying it that day. And it's, if I can keep the weeds out of it, that's the real challenge, but hardly any disease or pest, and just wonderful. This past winter was pretty hard, but if I think about my vegetables, yes, and we always have green beans and sweet corn and tomatoes and peppers and such. But also in the landscape, what we've decided to do, and every homeowner ought to do a site assessment and just see what you already have. And the goal is we speak about the bees, but for all of the pollinators, a goal should be from the very beginning of spring or the end of winter, try to have something blooming or a plant that can be a host plant for those kinds of visitors that we want to have in our gardens. And so we need to have some of these early bloomers, like my phlox right now is blooming. Buckeye blooming. It's usually we've seen our hummingbird scout come. Well, that's one of those. It's got a red tubular bloom.
Yeah.
So they want to go to that all the way through asters and goldenrod, all toward the end of the season. But to try to have something blooming and providing nectar and pollen as much as possible all the time. And so when you take your inventory of what you already have, and then you discover where the gaps are. Okay. And then begin to fill those in. And so
I love that. Okay.
Well, it's amazing too. Talk about going to plant sales, and we always take something home with us. If we have that. And then if you begin to look at your inventory, you might be surprised at what you already have that's working for you that you didn't realize that it's filling in that place.
I have buckeyes.
Yes.
And they're blooming right now.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. They are.
And that's and you talk about heritage, one of the last things that my dad bought at a trade store. He was like at some kind of a trade day and he'd always wanted a buckeye tree, and he planted a buckeye tree, and it was right before he passed. And so I was able to get one of the trees from one of those buckeyes, and I've got a couple of them now. Yeah. And they're just very prolific, and they're beautiful, and they're fun. And we're out of time, but what do you do with buckeyes? I mean, I have them, and my granddaddy, my pawpaw, kept one in his pocket and swore it kept arthritis away. I just think he just didn't have arthritis. But I mean, unlike some of us, but cause he was a very healthy man, but he kept a buckeye in his pocket always. And there's a lot of wives' tales and superstitions connected to them. But is there any practical use for buckeyes other than they're just pretty?
Not that I'm aware of.
I haven't come up with anything either. Some people say you can dry them and then make beads or something out of them. But I've done a little research on it. I have found no use other than they're just a neat kind of novelty. So if you can come up with something with buckeyes, guys, let me know. Anything that we're forgetting that you want to cover before we bring Stephanie in here?
Well, something that I started about almost 2 years ago is talking about social media and Facebook on the UT Extension Robertson County page. I've begun to I try to do this once a week, is have a Bob's Bit post.
Nice. I love it.
Just something, somebody had a issue during the week, and we want to have some discussion about it. So just a thought to share. This week,
How do I find that now? Which page is it on? It's on the
You go to
extension.
UT Extension, Robertson County. Facebook page, and
Okay, right there. Okay, I got to see this. I love this, Bob. I love you're doing
Bob's
this.
Bits. Well, and
Bob's Bits. I love it. That's great. And it's a cartoon. It's a cartoon. You need to check that out. That is awesome. Bob. I love that. That is adorable.
so I highlighted
I love it.
this week. I highlighted the plant sale and the seminars coming up on the 9th, and to take care of that. But
That's very cool. Okay, I'm following you, so good deal. I got to have that stuff. I wish I knew how social media and stuff work because I want to get alerts from that stuff. That's so cool. And how long have you been doing Bob's Bits?
almost 2 years.
That's
Almost 2 years.
That is so cool. That is so cool. I can't believe I've not noticed that. That is really cool.
I think it's something I started when I'm 71. You know.
Oh, I love it. I love it. But Bob's Bits. Okay, guys, these are all like little, I'm looking back at them now. Now I'm going to go back and look for them. That's really cool. I love that. I'm so glad you told me about those. I'm going to have to go looking for those. That is really cool. And this is a good website. Again, I follow UT Extension, Robertson County. But again, you pretty much have to go look at these pages sometimes because, you think you're going to get notifications when stuff comes up, and I don't know how it works, but sometimes you do and sometimes you don't. But it's really cool. Anything else before we go as we wrap it up? And we'll keep talking about the plant sale.
Okay.
Mother's Day weekend.
Well,
and some great information that's going to be shared at that as well.
So we're going to have some plants that master gardeners have started from seed, and they're going to be sharing. Talk about digging and sharing.
Right.
A lot of what's going to be available came from their own home gardens.
That's awesome.
And just a great opportunity to take some home with you.
Well, we'll get you back in here too soon. I love talking to you because it's all so interesting to me and just things I just want to get done. I got so many things I want to do. But thank you for coming in, making time for us today.
You're very welcome. Thank you.
Bob Ayer, he is our from UT Extension, our master gardener, instructor, advisor, and all the things. And as he's making his way out, I'm going to let Stephanie come on in here, and I'm going to talk about Valor Mortgage as she makes her way in and gets comfortable, because we want to talk about Chris Armentrout, our newest full-time sponsor here at One Street Over, and we appreciate him so much, and his group over at Valor Mortgage, all those experienced loan officers that are here to make sure that you have everything you need when you come to the mortgage table, whether you're being a first-time buyer, maybe you're doing some refi work. You want to just do a refi and save some money on your interest. Or maybe, it's an investment property, anything like that. And no matter which kind of loan you're looking for, VA loans, FHA loans, conventional jumbo financing, they've got the tools to get you to the closing table in a way that's going to work for you. Because the big thing is, when you're looking at a home, you do not want to bite off more than you can chew. Valor Mortgage is going to help you evaluate that and see exactly what kind of mortgage you need, how much home can you afford, what can you qualify for. That's the key. And they're going to help answer that question for you. It is one of the biggest decisions, buying a home, of your life, and you don't want to settle for a lender that's going to treat you like a number. When you call these just generic numbers, that's what you are. You're just a number to them. That's not the case at Valor Mortgage. They're located in downtown. Now, Chris will tell you, give them a call, because they're not in the office a lot because they're out talking to people and taking care of loans and all the things. You can call them at 615-671-9178, 615-671-9178, or you can go to valor.mortgage, valor.mortgage to get pre-approved today, because when it matters most, you deserve a lender you can trust. Buy with confidence, buy with Valor. Valor Mortgage. NMLS number 1210804, DBA of Encore Lending Group, NMLS 1249911, equal housing lender, subject to credit approval, rates and terms subject to change, without notice, not a commitment to lend. And please, when you get in touch with Valor, let them know U-Turn sent you. And hello, how are you doing? I'm so excited. This is we have been working on having Northcrest TriStar in here. Or is it TriStar or Northcrest?
TriStar Northcrest.
TriStar Northcrest. I was just like, which comes first? TriStar Northcrest. We're trying to get into the rhythm of you guys on the fourth Thursday. We normally have United weigh in at the 7:30 mark on Thursdays, but they're like, no, we need to hear from TriStar Northcrest. And so we got a little confused because there's a fifth Thursday this month.
Who knew?
And it really throws you because you think, oh, it's the last Thursday. Well, this is last Thursday. So we're still kind of a little discombobulated, kind of getting into the rhythm, but we'll get there. So I appreciate United Way saying, oh, yeah, take it. We're good. And so thankful that you're able to be here and join me today because I know, and this is Stephanie Dean. She is with TriStar Northcrest. Are you a doctor?
No, I'm a licensed professional counselor.
Okay.
And my role is a well-being consultant for TriStar Northcrest. I also work at Skyline and Centennial.
Okay.
And so my focus or my sort of area of expertise is stress. And today maybe we're going to talk a lot about stress and how it can impact your health.
Absolutely. And absolutely. This is something I know my son is just like you. He is a licensed clinical counselor.
Nice.
And so I learn a lot from him. And the big thing that I learn is the necessity of it and how people just do not realize how important their mental health is. I mean, it's just critical. It is critical. And we deal with a lot through ministry and programs that we do there with Celebrate Recovery. But for people who just don't have access, they don't want to access it through, I mean, it is so critical to your physical well-being.
Right.
I mean, so many things. So where do you want to start talking to people about how you need to take this seriously, y'all? Come on.
Well, I think I just want to remind people that just, everybody has stress, but maybe they don't necessarily define it. So I'm going to give you a definition.
Okay.
It's when we have a state of worry or a mental tension caused by something in our lives. And I think what people don't realize sometimes is that stress is a normal human part of life. We all have it. So, and not all stress is bad. If you've ever had a new baby, you know that's really stressful, but it's also fabulous. But that sort of negative chronic stress can really impact our health in lots and lots of different ways.
Right. And so, in what kind of ways? I mean, let's just unpack it. If you're having this kind of issue, have you thought about looking at your stress level and seeing if maybe that's a contributing factor? Would you have something which you could point them to that?
Yes. Well, first of all, the stress response, I think people used to think that our minds and our bodies were somehow separate, but it's all connected. And so, of course, when you're stressed and if something's going on stressful, it's going to impact your body. And so sometimes people don't necessarily realize how they are impacted. So a lot of times it might be you might notice differences in maybe I'm having difficulty concentrating, or a lot of us have chronic muscle tension. And so we may not know that those headaches are actually caused by our stress and muscle tension. And we may be having, taking all the Advil and Tylenol, but really the issue is actually what's going on inside our bodies. A lot of people experience it emotionally. And behaviorally, you might feel down or a little more reactive or grumpy. And then we don't necessarily take into consideration that could be causing other problems for us. We know that chronic stress, unfortunately, plays a role in all different kinds of medical illnesses. Doesn't necessarily cause everything, but it's certainly putting you at much higher risk. Also, of course, depending on your own medical history. I think that people mostly know about, blood pressure, heart disease, having a stress factor. But lots of other things do too. Your immune system, if you're not taking good care of yourself, it can make you more apt to catch something. If you've ever felt down and realized, I caught a cold kind of thing.
Absolutely.
A lot of people, the gut and the brain are very connected in terms of nerves. And so our stress can really disrupt our digestion. People say, my stomach hurts, I must be feeling stressed. IBS, GERD, all that kind of stuff. We also know that metabolically, the cortisol that our body gets when we're stressed also can kind of lead to some of that insulin resistance and weight gain that can be associated with type 2 diabetes. So also a factor. And of course, I've already mentioned, but those musculoskeletal things like our aches and pains that we have, we don't necessarily attribute some of that to stress, but it can often be.
Okay. And so how does all this work into what you do then at TriStar Northcrest?
Well, what I do is I actually get to work with the staff at these.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I get to be sort of the staff counselor for folks in the TriStar division for several hospitals. And so our healthcare, as you know, our healthcare providers have very difficult work.
Yeah.
And so I'm just proud to be able to get to take care of the caregivers.
I love that. And so you work at, which all different hospitals do you work with?
I'm at Northcrest, Skyline, and Centennial.
Okay, that's wonderful. And so if there's somebody that's, I'm assuming that everybody here at TriStar Northcrest knows your schedule and when you're there and all that. Do you have set hours at each one?
I do.
Okay.
I do. And then I also am able to see folks, via internet, web, and stuff.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
cover quite a bit of
Territory.
yeah.
Yeah, you really
Which
do.
is great.
Oh, wow, that's amazing. How long have you been doing what you do?
I have been in occupational mental health for over 30 years.
Oh, wow, that's amazing.
But I've been doing sort of this employee assistance work in hospitals throughout my career.
Okay. Well, that's good. And so, whenever let's say that somebody's listening and they're like, okay, that's all well and good, but I'm not an employee of the health
Right.
of TriStar.
Right.
What would you advise somebody who thinks, oh, I've been letting this go too long. I've got too much stress going. Are there some simple steps to start de-stressing yourself? We're coming up on summer. Okay. And I'm a school teacher. I know the source of my stress, and it's all beautiful and it's all good, but it's one of those things where we've overextended ourselves a little bit, and we're here on the end of the year, and it's like we got to get all these things done, and
Exactly.
So what would you advise people stepwise to really evaluate the stress in their life and then work to alleviate it so they can live better moving forward? Could you give us some practical advice on that?
I absolutely would. First of all, I think people just have to stop and be able to check in with themselves. Just take a pause. And I know that's really hard when we're all overextended, but take 5 minutes a day. Check in with your body. Am I noticing anything in my body or my mind that I think is related to my level of stress? And if so, am I paying attention to it? What am I doing about it? People often, because our stress can be chronic, they get used to the pain that they're in, and it just becomes normal. And that's not what we want. Of course, you always have to start with the basics.
Right.
And those are sometimes the hardest things to manage. So start small, pick one thing to work on. I would say move when you can. Even if you can't get a big full workout in, can you take a walk around the block? If you're not able to really get out and walk, can you sit outside and get some fresh air? Just the very basic things. How's your sleep? Are you going to bed and waking up at around the same time? Are you eating or drinking alcohol or anything before bed that would really, mess up your sleep? Of course, our eating habits matter a lot for all these as well. But another thing I would really say is that our tendency when we feel stressed is to blame ourselves and get down on ourselves. And what I would say beyond that is to remember that everybody has stress. Everybody has good days, bad days, tough periods in their life that are not really at all within our control. And so to just be able to give yourself a little grace and say, okay, I'm not at my best right now. That's okay. We all have problems. What is one tiny little step I can take today that might, excuse me.
It's that season. It's like Bob
Sorry,
is
it's
in
pollen.
here.
I
and it's all
apologize.
all the plants.
Yeah, but so what's one little thing I can do for myself? And maybe that one thing today is taking a walk around the block or drinking an extra glass of water or, getting in with your support system. Who can I call or reach out to that I know cares about me and loves me and, wants me to be my best? And who are those people? And am I? Sometimes when we feel bad, we get a little more withdrawn. We don't want to work out. We don't want to engage with people because we feel bad about how bad we're feeling. So just take one tiny little step, and those steps add up, and really it's the only way. I'd like to say, just do all the things, but we have to be realistic. I mean, that's why things like, New Year's resolutions don't work so well, is because often our expectations of ourselves going to the gym 7 days a week is not realistic. This is
like,
my year.
Yeah.
It just doesn't work that way.
Well, and a lot of the times too, you'll set yourself up, and then you don't keep it, and then you're down on yourself, and then that stress and that anxiety just all kind of comes piling back. What you said about just getting outside, I think that's something that or just taking a few minutes. It's amazing because it'll just step you away from the stress for a minute. That's right. But stepping outside, maybe even if it's raining with an umbrella, as long as it's not lightning. I don't like lightning, but just stepping outside and getting some fresh air can make all the difference in the world. My classroom yesterday was just getting a little out of hand, and I thought I need to just take them all outside for a minute. And I'm like, no, then that'll be a reward because they're being a little bit of they're showing out a little bit,
right?
And so we can't do that. But I could have used it. I could have used just a moment outdoors, but it's all good. But it's just, it is amazing. I will find myself at my home, just stepping out in the sunshine for a minute.
Absolutely.
Or if I'm just feeling stressed about all the things I need to do, just go spend 5 minutes in something that I don't want to do. But if I spend 5 minutes with it and just kind of start getting it kind of wrapped in my head a little bit more,
right.
It de-stresses it, being proactive on things.
Yeah. It helps us regain our perspective that, we don't have to we can't do everything at once. So
Exactly.
Let me just get focused on something else for a minute and then come back to whatever task or whatever it is that I'm trying to get done today.
Exactly. So, and we're talking today, we're going to be visiting with TriStar Northcrest once a month. On the fourth Thursday, 7:30, about just different topics. And today we're talking about stress. We're talking with Stephanie Dean from TriStar Northcrest, and she is a licensed clinical counselor in mental health, and she's there to help de-stress the employees. Isn't that a cool thing? Did you know that if you're an employee of TriStar and you're at one of her hospitals, you can talk to her? And that is a really cool thing that they provide. I think that's wonderful. But we're going to pause. We're going to take a break right now, and then we'll come back. So just kind of be thinking about some things we haven't covered that we need to cover in our last few moments that we have with the show. We'll go up until 8 o'clock, of course, but we do want to pause and talk about Barry and Rebecca Richards with Exit Prime Realty. We talked about, figuring out how much home you can buy. Now, which home you going to buy? Which one you want to look at? Go and call Barry and Rebecca Richards, and you tell them where you're wanting to live, what you can qualify for. That's going to help them a lot because there's some areas it's a little bit harder to find a house in this price range than in other areas. And so they're going to direct you where your pre-qualification is going to best suit you. And there's a lot of inventory right now. And so it's a really good time for you to get out there and start looking. If you want to live here in Robertson County, they specialize in Robertson County properties. They've been here over like 30 years, about the same time I got here. So it's home. But they also are originally from Kentucky, like myself. And so they know all about living and working in Kentucky. And if that's something that you want to do because you can get a little bit more home for your dollar across the state line, they understand the nuances of all that. Rebecca even has a broker that works in her office up in White House that can still broker deals in Kentucky. Not all of them can. So that is something that you really need to be aware of before you come to the table. No matter what you're doing, they've got everything covered. Barry is the marketer of the bunch. He was a vice president of a media marketing company for 17 years up in Nashville. You get that marketing expertise at the table when you're trying to sell property, and it is an absolute game changer because your property is going to be seen in the absolute best light with all the photography, the videography, the drone footage, all the things that people want to see now, and they want to see a lot. Well, he's got you covered. So reach out to them today, buying, selling, whatever it is you need, or if you want to be a realtor. Right now I've got seniors that will talk to me about what are they going to do after school, and I seem to always have one or two that are interested in real estate. And I will tell them about Barry and Rebecca and say, if you're really interested in this, you need to reach out to them. They would love to mentor you and make sure you understand all the ins and outs of the industry before you, invest the time and say, okay, this is something that I really, really want to do. Go to their website and just, reach out to them, or you can give them a call, 615-504-7425, 615-504-7425 or 7424. Barry says the best thing, just Google them. Barry Richards, Exit Prime Realty, Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty. You're going to find unique Facebook pages, social media pages for them. You're going to find unique websites and everything you need to know exactly what's going on. I just pulled up his page, and there's a new listing in Springfield, 703 5th Avenue, just listed. There's a new home, but really, really a nice home for $339,900. And I mean, go and check it out if you're looking for a home here in Springfield. This is a historic home, he says. So that is a real interesting home that's going to be available. So go and check it out. Get to their website, their Facebook pages, and see everything that's going on. And remember, they will be at the Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival. They are founding members of the board and founding sponsors, and still so for all the programs happening at Kilgore Station Bluegrass Festival, which is coming up the 15th and 16th of May. I will be there hosting, and I love doing that. And they'll be there with their tent. They can do free market analysis, all the kind of things that you might need to know about property if you're getting ready to sell. And they can help you look at the properties that are available in the zip code you're wanting to live in. Talk to them today and be sure and let them know U-Turn sent you. Barry and Rebecca Richards, Exit Prime Realty. Okay, as I got ready for the break, I said, what are we missing, Stephanie? What are we missing that we want to make sure we cover before we wrap up our time? Talking about stress.
Well, a couple of things. I just want to remind people of some other coping skills, just to throw some things out there. Find some hobbies. Find some other. I heard you speaking about being outside and being in your garden and doing all the flowers. That's a great hobby this time of year. Reading. Maybe you have a more active hobby. You want to get out and play pickleball, which is the big thing right now. Those are very important ways to tell our brain that there's no danger, right? That stress response says, oh, there's something bad that's going to happen. And these are ways to remind our brain that, hey, there's plenty of good times too. It's not all stressful. Some people like to journal. One of my favorites is to try to have a sense of humor. Don't take yourself too seriously. Don't take some of the problems too seriously, even though they're real. Sometimes our brain makes them a little bigger than they are when we're already stressed out.
Right.
We may have a bigger response than we need. Volunteer. Get out and do something for somebody else is a great way to remind us of that. We are grounded. We are able to do all the things. And helping somebody else just feels good.
Sure.
Feels great. So volunteer. And prioritize your tasks. Most of us make to-do lists that are way too long. Again, not realistic, can really increase your stress. And then, if you are struggling either physically or emotionally, it's important to get some professional help if you need it. See your primary care physician, reach out to your insurance and find a licensed professional counselor in the area, seek support maybe from someone in your faith community. It doesn't, just find some way to get some extra support when you need it. The TriStar Northcrest family is here for you 24/7. Hopefully you don't need them in an emergency basis, but they're great folks and they're going to take good care of you. So if you need some help, need help finding a primary care physician, need help just talking through some things, reach out. They'd be happy to see anybody.
For sure. You talk about I had an experience last year where I had some complications from my knee replacement and had to go in, and I'm telling you, I was so impressed because it was in I was like middle of the night.
Yeah.
And, it was just super stressful, and I tell you, they couldn't have been better. So I can attest firsthand to what you just said. And it just, I don't know. It was just an amazing experience. And so we're really glad you are there and very thankful. And I'm so thankful they have you to help out as well. So now you said though, you do work with the ones there in the office. Do you do anything outside of that? Do you have, do you take people that are not affiliated with the hospital as far as any clients and
I'm
stuff?
not right now.
You're just kind of filled up, aren't you?
I'm filled up with, that's my full-time job.
Yeah, I got you. But that's okay, because I bet you could could the hospital point people then to the different counselors that are available?
Yes, we can
to
help
take
you.
New patients and stuff.
Sure.
And how does that process work? Because I've just recently found out that now this is my primary care person.
Right.
It's changing jobs. And so I'm going to need a new primary care. Who do I call to start doing that? I mean, do I just call the general number? Because it'd be the same if I wanted to find a counselor. Okay, say I'm trying to find this particular person. Where do I start with TriStar? Just call them information.
Just give them a call. Give them a call. The 384-2411 is the main number.
Okay.
I think the important thing to know as a consumer of healthcare is it helps to know kind of what insurance you have, that kind of thing, so that we can make sure that we're trying to help you find somebody that's in your network.
Right.
All that kind of stuff that insurance requires.
Well, and you figure this person is part of TriStar, so
Right,
So
so-
I know we're covered in that
Right.
regard. But I'm like, I don't even know where to begin, because I've been super pleased. And
Well,
so
that's
now,
great.
Oh, but you know what I'm saying? It's
Right.
just any time that you find that people's jobs change, and so you've got to navigate those waters. So the best thing to do is just pick up the phone and just call that general number and say, hey, here's where I'm at. This is my current primary care. And just kind of unpack it for them, and they'll know where to point me.
Yeah, who might be taking some
Okay.
new patients that
Sure.
that work with us at TriStar Health.
Very good. Anything else that we're missing? I mean, we're so thankful y'all are here.
Thank you.
And we love. There's been a lot that's been done just in the last few years
Yeah,
to
it's-
make improvements, and that was one thing when I went in and because my I've got 2 children that work for HCA, and they're in the like cloud and all the
All the things.
all the things, and one of them works with AI, and one of them's cloud distribution director, something or another. I don't know, but that's the heady stuff, right?
Right.
I don't understand.
Me either.
But it was whenever I had to go in for this and the emergency, I was telling them the different things, and they're like, oh yeah, that's new. They just got that. Da-da-da-da. And they're telling me all these things about some of the things I had access to, and they're like, yeah, wasn't that great? And I'm like, yeah, it was. And it's just, but there's excitement.
Yeah.
I guess is what I'm saying, because
Yeah.
they were very like, yes, that's it. They were very proud of
course they
the
were.
different things. Yeah, because they're very they love HCA, and we do too. And so I just think there's a lot of wonderful things happening here.
Yeah,
at,
so much growth,
TriStar
so
HCA.
great
Yeah,
stuff.
at TriStar Northcrest.
Yeah.
So very good, but awesome. Well, give the number again on how they can reach.
The main number to TriStar Northcrest is 615-384-2411, and one of the operators can direct you from there, get you to somebody who can help you out. And if you're having a tough day today, I know it sounds trite, but a deep breath is really a good thing. 1 or 2, 3 deep breaths can help you get back in your body, get back into the present moment, and then you can make a decision about what to do next.
And I love it. And I'll add to that the caveat: say a little prayer while you're at it, and that's for me.
Absolutely.
And so, like right now, I'm going to go ahead and tell you to remember this day next week. We've got the National Day of Prayer, and they're going to be down on the square, on the courthouse square, and observing the National Day of Prayer from 12 to 1. We'll hope you'll be a part of that, because in that breath you can take a moment to pray, and you'll be amazed at how that will relieve some anxiety. And also, too, want to remind you, today is Recovery Court graduation, and that's happening at the center. They'll get started at noon, but the meal, get there about 11:30 if you can possibly go. I haven't missed one in a long time, but with school stress right now, I can't be there today. But I'm cheering you on. I'm so proud of all of you. I'm on the Recovery Court board, and we're so proud of all those who have worked through the program and gotten to this day. This is your day, and if you can go and celebrate those that are coming through the Recovery Court and graduating today, get out there and do that. It will bless you so abundantly. It will blow your mind just to see the change in these lives, and so important. Thank you, Stephanie, for being here.
My pleasure.
And thank you guys for being with me today as well. Tomorrow is Faith Friday. Lisa Fort will be in on the first Friday of the month. Tomorrow is May 1st, y'all. Man, it's going fast. Thank you for joining us. This is 1100 WSGI. God bless you. Have a great day.
Once I was walking a road of sin and despair. The debt I owe, I could not pay. I asked the Lord to save me, and He heard my prayer. I found a much better way. I want to walk by His side, where joy and peace abide. His wonderful word, I want to obey. I want to hold to His hand while
traveling through this land, I found a much better way. I know it's hard to believe, but I'm telling you, He changed my life. He changed my life that wonderful day. There's joy I can't explain, and heaven's in view. I found a much better way. I wanna walk by His side, where joy and peace abide. His wonderful word obey. I wanna hold to His hand while traveling through this land. I found a much better way. I wanna walk by His side, where joy and peace abide. His wonderful word, I want to obey. I want to hold to His hand while traveling through this land. I found a much better way. Well, I want to walk by His side, where joy and peace abide. His wonderful word, I want to obey. I want to hold to His hand while traveling through this land. I found a much better way. I found a much better way.
All to Jesus I surrender all. To Him I freely give. I will ever love and trust Him in His presence daily live. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all. All to Jesus I surrender. Make me Savior wholly Thine. Let me feel Thy Holy Spirit truly, knowing that Thou art mine. I surrender all. I surrender all to Thee, my blessed Savior. I surrender all. All to Jesus I surrender now. I feel the sacred flame. Oh, the joy